Hello. If you're like me and you are itching to garden during the winter time, but of course cannot, my solution right now is to add some houseplants to my home. And I am using some of the plants that I've done research on that are the best at purifying our air in our closed up winter homes. And the first one I'm going to start with is this spider plant. Look at how it was planted. I actually got this at one of my local garden centers, but what I like about it is that they potted together both the variegated version and the solid green version of spider plant. I think that makes it really interesting. So I am going to take this plant, the spider plant, which is super at air purification and very easy to care for, a very fast grower, and it can be grown easily in indirect sunlight. So I'm going to set this one over here, and I have a pot that I'm going to be using, and I have some spider plants here to add to this pot. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this container, and I got this idea from another gardener who put their potting soil into this larger container. And what is really great about this is it's going to keep me from spilling potting soil all over my counter and everywhere, because I can take my pot and scoop soil into my pot inside the container. I am really excited about this. And a great way to store your potting soil too, because you know how it is when you're trying to get potting soil out of a plastic bag, and it's just as really difficult without having potting soil all over. So I'm just scooping potting soil up, and I'm going to fill up my container probably about at least 2/3 full. And I have very small containers, or my spider plants that I'm going to transplant into this are in small containers, so it won't take much. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this solid green leaf spider plant and remove it from its pot. And as you can see, it's really root bound. And I am a big fan of loosening up the roots very well, and then sort of draping them down so that they are able to grow into the soil without being caught in growing in a circle like they were in the small pot. So I'm planting this in, and then I'm going to make a space on either side for my smaller spider plants. Here's my little tiny one, and it also has roots that are kind of growing in a circle, so I'm going to sort of tease them out, release them, and I'm going to place that on one side of, kind of tilt it out a little bit, and scooting plenty of soil from the soil I have in the pot already over here to the edges to firmly push that in. And then I have this larger variegated spider plant that I'm going to add to the pot. And while I'm at it, I'll add a little bit more soil to my pot. And I want to make sure my plants are not too deep into the soil. We want them to be planted at the same level that they were in their pots from the nursery. And here we have another spider plant that I usually squeeze my plastic pot, which makes it a little bit easier to remove. And here we go again with very root-bound plant. And that's okay as long as we tease out the roots and let them be released so that they can grow into the new soil. Okay, that should be good for the spider plant. And then I have to make room for it in my pot. So I'm going to have to move some of my soil. This is a much larger one. And squish it in here with my other 2 spider plants. Make sure the roots are tucked in all the way. There we go. Okay, so I have an open spot here that needs a little more soil, which I will just add in here. And I like my soil to be 1 inch to 1/2 inch below the rim of the pot. This way you have plenty of room for watering. Your water won't spill over the edges of your pot right away. And so I'm just going to firmly push each plant down. Let them all have their space. Tuck them in really nicely. And I am just so excited. I just love this look of having 2 different colors of spider plants in the same pot. I just think it adds a lot of interest. It just makes it gorgeous. A gorgeous plant for your home indoors in the wintertime. So this is my first potting that I'm doing. And I just thought I would show you this because I thought it was such a brilliant idea, this plant that I found at my nursery. And I said to myself, I'm going to copy that and put this in my home also. So here's my new plant. I just think it looks gorgeous. I love it. And my second project is to plant this variegated English ivy. This is a small plant, but I'm going to put it in this larger pot because it definitely will grow quickly and is another fabulous air purifier. It can soak in carcinogens from secondhand smoke if you have smokers in your home. It eliminates, believe it or not, airborne fecal particles from your home. The only difference, or caution I should say, spider plants are non-toxic and they would be safe around children and pets. English ivy is toxic, and if it is ingested, it can cause vomiting, a rash, swelling of the throat. So this plant, because I have grandchildren, this plant will be up high in a place on a high shelf where my grandchildren can't get to it. So I'm going to start with my pot again in my large container here and fill it up probably about 3/4 full of soil, because I just am placing one plant in this pot and it's in a small container. So I just need to break up any clumps that are in this potting soil and then make a space for my ivy just to tuck it in. And if I have a little too much, I can put it back in my container. So again, I'm squeezing the plastic pot. I'm taking the plant out, and this plant actually is not root bound. It's in great shape for planting. So I actually am going to remove a little soil. Looks like I have a little too much. And I am placing into the pot. And I, again, like to have between 1/2 inch and 1 inch of space between the edge of the pot and the soil, so that my when I'm watering my plants, the water doesn't spill over the edges. So looks like I removed a little too much soil. That's okay. Just go back and get some more to add to the pot. So we have the right amount for my purposes here. And then I just firmly push it down so that the roots inside the ivy plant are having good contact with the new potting soil. And you can just with your fingers kind of clean up the edges and make sure it's tucked in there nicely. And there you are. You have a really pretty variegated ivy plant for the home that will do a great job at cleaning the air. And I have these old metal dishes that we used to use when we would go camping, and I am using them as a saucer for some of my plants because, you know, no water can escape through, has plenty of room for any water overflow, and I just thought it looked really cute with this pot. So there you have it. Another wonderful plant for air purification in the home, and it's going to look great. Thank you.